I fell asleep the first time we watched it. I was like, I need to rewatch that because I gotta film a podcast. So,
Well, this was one of those rare instances where I saw the runtime of like 58 minutes. I don't remember what it was. I was like, oh, awesome. And the irony was that 85% of the episode was booty dumpster fire garbage.
welcome to another episode of the Dads of Dagobah. This is chapter 19, The Convert. Um, Sean, the beginning and the end of this episode were so good.
Oh, I agree. They really know how to bookend some content.
I had trouble though with the middle part. And I've been surprised today because of my feelings towards this episode. I was like, I want to see what other people are saying, and other people that I watch and kind of respect their opinions on, they all love the episode and thought this is such great backstory. And I know what they're getting at, and maybe we'll try and explain some of that backstory today, but is that the best way to tell this backstory? So,
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the parts with Mando and Bo-Katan were really great and were very engaging to me, and I was interested. And the whole middle part that was this filler of Dr. Pershing and the being rehabilitated into the New Republic, all of that, I wasn't upset at their intent. I wasn't upset that they were trying to develop more storylines and other characters' storylines. I think the show needs that, but I do not think it was executed well. I think that it was pretty mediocre.
oh yeah, totally agree. Um, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about the first part of the episode. It immediately takes place after the end of the last episode, where we're recovering from the trip into the waters of Mandalore. Bo-Katan starts questioning Din about what he saw down there, and he's like, "I didn't see anything." And she's like, "Are you sure you didn't see anything?" He's like, "Uh huh." So she keeps her cards close, doesn't share what she saw, and something I noticed pretty early on is she's not taking off her helmet. So is she the convert that they're talking about in this episode title?
I think so.
She's been converted, or is she a wolf in sheep's clothing?
I don't think so. I don't think that she's converted like she's going to actually live the lifestyle of the Children of the Watch. But I do think
Well, she
my
didn't take
take
off
on,
her helmet.
huh?
Why didn't she take off her helmet then?
I don't know. I mean, I think that she didn't take off her helmet leaving Mandalore. Um, just maybe because I don't know. Actually, yeah, I don't have a good reason, but I don't think that she's converted. Do you?
I think, I mean, at the end of the episode, it seems like it was just, oh, and by the way, you are also redeemed. She's like, huh? Like, no, you bathed also, so you two are redeemed. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it was on
I don't
purpose.
think that she really seriously even considered any of that until the Thai bombers blew up her home.
Huh.
And then she maybe felt like, okay, I really don't have anywhere to go now. And maybe I think that reading the body language, since we don't see any of these people's faces, reading the body language, I think she maybe was a little surprised by how quickly they embraced her after the armorer pronounced her redeemed,
Mhm.
and they were all slapping shoulders and stuff, and I felt like she maybe all of a sudden was like, whoa, like feeling something, like some camaraderie with these people, like, wow, they've accepted me. I'm technically homeless at this point. um all of her followers have abandoned her. Yeah. But I don't think that right after she got out of the waters of Mandalore, she already was like, I'm not taking off my helmet because then I won't be redeemed anymore. I don't think
Yeah.
that that was a motivation.
Okay, I see your point. I just thought it was interesting. I wonder. I thought it was interesting character development. Was it just? I don't think it was a happy accident that she kept her helmet on. I think as soon as she saw the mythosaur, she thought, "There's something here." Um, and for whatever reason, she kept on her helmet. So it'd be interesting. Is she
Yep.
going to, use the children of the Watch and use them to reclaim the throne? Is she going to, I don't know. I think she kept that eye on that statue of the mythosaur, so like that's her ultimate thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I certainly think that it adds some layers to kind of her development for sure. That's very interesting to see where she goes from here. I also, are we supposed to understand or believe that those Thai bombers were working with or sent by Moff
I
Gideon?
don't know. I have no idea what's happening with the Empire. I have no idea.
I feel like they keep alluding more like to Moff Gideon and he escaped and like why and I'm like, so is this like confirmed that Moff Gideon is behind all this still? Like we're just gonna all pretend he literally was in custody of the New Republic and defeated by Luke Skywalker and we handed him over and then in some prison transfer off screen he's escaped again.
He's out.
Yeah.
And where is the Empire getting these? I don't understand these ships. That the continual presence of the Empire. This is 10 years post Return of the Jedi.
Plus we find out in the big filler thing they're decommissioning like all of the ships, even the Rebel Alliance fleet.
Uh huh. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that they keep bringing up Moff Gideon because I would have sworn that if that was going to be the play by Favreau and Filoni, they would have just had him in the Book of Boba Fett, and we would have seen him escape in Episode 8 of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, why didn't we? No, anyway. Um, then we I mean, are we done talking about? I mean, we transition now to Coruscant,
Yeah.
and this is my problem with this whole scene. One scene, the whole Coruscant scene. It feels so out of place and clunky and off pace. We just had this awesome dogfight. We're progressing in the story so well, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, we still need to explain this cloning stuff from episode 9. So let's try and shoehorn this in." It just feels. Am I wrong in saying this just feels so out of place? And they're just like trying to explain this cloned Palpatine. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I think that that's part of it. I agree with you. I felt like the writing, the dialogue, and then to some degree the acting, the delivery, all of it felt off to me, like very clunky.
Yeah, especially that fairground, that
Yeah,
whole where they're eating like the glowing popsicles. I'm like, what is going on right now?
that are like CGI glowing popsicles, so it doesn't look like they're naturally eating a popsicle. It was very strange. I thought it was bizarre.
Yeah,
Um, and the dialogue wasn't good. It was like very strange delivery to where like I feel like the character, I don't know what her name is, but the character that was on Moff Gideon's ship that ends up betraying Dr. Pershing.
hmm
Do we know what her name is?
let me look it up.
Well, anyway, that character. I Who am I to criticize any actor or actress and their skill? Like I couldn't do that, so it is what it is. But as a fan watching, my opinion was that she must have received note or direction that, hey, you need to act like it felt like she was acting the part of I'm trying to befriend you, but I'm also suspicious and I'm going to double cross you. But like she wasn't actually acting
Yeah.
genuine.
Her name is Elia Kane.
Elia Kane.
Yeah. So I guess my confusion is she is a reformed Empire person in the program, but she double crosses him. She honeypots him on behalf of the Alliance, on behalf of the New Republic.
Right.
But then double crosses again on behalf of the Empire, right?
Well, it's like, yeah, she's like still working for Moff Gideon, maybe.
Yeah.
And so she's erasing his memory.
That
Why?
I didn't understand that part. Why is she erasing his memory? Don't they need him for this cloning thing still happening?
Or are we to believe that she's not a double agent and she actually is reformed and is so zealous now about the New Republic that she's like, this dude's bad and he has bad
He's got to
cloning.
go.
Like, is she actually loyal to it's very confusing. I don't know. But I just felt like all the interactions between Pershing and Elia
So weird.
weird. And I even
Were
at
they
one
trying to
point
make it romantic? Like I was like, what is going on here? I didn't
it's
get
a
the romance vibe. It felt like Andor, what's his face and what's her face. Remember those scenes?
but those were way better.
Cyril and um
Deidre.
yeah. We were just like, ugh. But it was like a good, like it was on purpose. Like, ugh, this is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I just it just didn't work for me. I wasn't enjoying it. I also think that part of what was confusing about it was we all of a sudden got this huge uninterrupted side story of Dr. Pershing, who we basically have not seen since season 1, like
Yeah.
anything significant since season 1 when he was like trying to do tests on Grogu.
Uh-huh.
And now all of a sudden it's like we're gonna do this huge. I'm like, is he like a main character in the show or now or
Yeah, are we gonna see him again?
it makes me feel like they were I don't know. I don't know. But the feeling I got during the episode watching was the showrunners feel like they need more side stories or more character arcs happening instead of just Mando. And we're out of other characters because Cara Dune's gone, Grief Karga's like the High Magistrate, like all of our band from season 1/season 2. There's no characters left. Bill Burr's gone, Boba Fett's gone. Like it's like okay, it's Mando and Bo-Katan. Who else would we even like be interested in knowing about right now? So they're
Ahsoka,
like,
but she's got her own show coming up.
yeah. So I'm almost like they feel like they need other storylines and other characters. But to go from to me, that Dr. Pershing guy was literally like this obscure 1 or 2 episode character from the first few episodes of season 1. And now all of a sudden he's like prominently featured in this episode. Like, is this setting up like major throughout the rest of the season? Like we're following this story? Or
Do we need
or is that literally a one-off? Was that
yeah.
like an 11
I mean
finds her
his
adopted sister in Stranger Things and we're done?
I mean his mind is wiped, right? So if we do see him again, is he gonna be of any use to our story?
I don't know. Anyway, I felt like it was a too strong of a course correction for them to try to like add more storylines and more side character arcs into the show.
You know, I wonder if this would have made sense if we were watching the Bad Batch. Because I hear they're doing with clones too.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And somehow we need to explain it.
Anyway,
That one decision has now ruined a perfectly good episode.
Like it'd be one thing if throughout season 1 and season 2 we continued to follow Dr. Pershing and he was doing shady things and we saw him in this reform institute trying to get to the new camp. Like if we had been following him the last 3 seasons, like cool, let's keep following and seeing where it goes. But it hasn't been organically woven through. It's a little bit and then all of a sudden drinking out of a fire hydrant of this guy's backstory.
Bam!
You're like, okay, he's relevant now again. Like, why? I don't care about him. That's what it comes down to. I don't care about him.
Yeah,
I don't care about his story.
Who are we rooting for?
Yeah.
None of them?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care at all about and there's no better litmus test for any of these shows because I watch them all with my wife. You know that it's not super engaging when she jumps on her phone during the middle of the episode. During Andor, she was never picking up her phone. And she's not like a hardcore Star Wars fan. She was, as a casual fan, was captivated by Andor. She was on her phone the whole thing. And I have to say, even I picked up my phone during the Pershing. They're going through the Star Destroyer. I'm like, all right, checking my email. I'm checking Instagram. Like, it just wasn't, I didn't care.
Abby turned to me and said, what was the point of that? Like, good point. I don't know.
Yeah. That's why I texted you. I'm like, hey, Mandalorian is supposed to be the crown jewel of Star Wars Disney Plus, and am I becoming a hater because 2 out of 3 episodes this season so far, I'm kind of like, meh, it wasn't very good.
We are watching right now. Am I becoming a hater? Because this episode is not good. I said, I have no idea. It certainly didn't keep my attention. Then an hour later, I watched it. Well, that was a dumb episode.
But I mean, again, they rounded it back at the end with Mando taking Bo-Katan to the Enclave and to the Covert.
Yep.
And that was again interesting. I'm like, this is interesting. Just stick with this. This is the bread and butter. Stick with the Mandalorians.
Forget Boba Fett. Forget Dr. Pershing. Give us Moff Gideon. Give us Pele. And give us the Mandalorian.
Didn't you also think it was strange that he was giving this lecture in the opera house and they were using his name, and then immediately he had to go back to his like halfway house housing and they wouldn't use his name anymore? Hey, L46 or whatever his name is. I'm like,
was that a New Republic designation or was that old Empire talk?
no, I think it was a New Republic designation, but I was like, what's
Why
his
would they
situation?
dehumanize him for?
Yeah. And why, if he's really in this like reform program, what were they calling the housing? I don't remember. But I mean, it's like, it basically was like halfway housing. Like they just got out of prison and this is like their parole. They're on parole and they can't go outside of their designated zone. And yet at the same time, he somehow has booked this massive speaking event.
Yeah, he's a TED Talk.
In the opera house where he's like with all the wealthiest and they're all fawning. That was weird too. And at the end, they're all fawning over him in the lobby of the opera house. I'm like, this is clunky too. Like, what's happening right now? And then he has to go from there and ride his little Uber back to the compound where he's being monitored. But at least she could win him over. That's my background, the lembas bread. She could at least win him over with the stale Imperial Travel yellow biscuits.
The yellow biscuits, huh? Not the red biscuits. Okay. He goes into the ship to get the cloning stuff. Then betrayal. She then gets the stuff. This is what I don't understand. Does she now have the stuff on behalf of the New Republic? Or was that her payment for betraying him?
Yeah, because she picked it up and walked away, and it made me think for a second that she had like paid off those New Republic guards. But then it was like, no, it was just a sting operation. So I don't know that she has that stuff.
Okay.
But and I'm like, when did she clue the New Republic guards in? Like just on that last run, or did she tell them, "Hey, I'm going to set this guy up, but you got to go let me go get these biscuits so I can gain his trust, and then we'll sting him." Like
And we had
it was very elaborate
and
to
that chase through the train, man, that was exciting stuff.
to set him up. Yeah. Like,
Oh.
wow, she really went all out to set him up.
And she knows just the right time to jump onto a soft platform.
Seriously.
Well, I don't have much more to say about the episode.
Well, I mean, again, where do we go from here? I'm expecting now every single episode we're going to get a 40-minute mid segment of another obscure character and their backstory of what they're doing right now in the galaxy. That's the other thing with this is this maybe at the end of the season we'll be eating our words, Joseph, but is this going to connect at all to what Mando is doing right now?
That's the other question. Is this setting up a different show? Is this the Ahsoka show tie-in, you know?
Yeah. Like to me, the goal of Mando and Bo-Katan right now is still reclaim Mandalore. I'm like, and how is the cloning doctor getting his mind wiped on Coruscant have anything to do with that?
I don't know.
And why does the Empire, in its fragmented, fractured state right now, even care about Mandalore? Don't they have bigger problems than to worry about Bo-Katan?
We're going to go to this one castle that has one lady who's completely deserted and bomb it.
You're telling me that Bo-Katan and Mandalore, they're afraid of that threat, that, oh no, they can't take back Mandalore because they could threaten the Empire. Newsflash, the New Republic already threatened and dismantled the Empire.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know.
So I don't get what the opposition to Bo-Katan is. And we're going to go bomb her house so that she demoralizes her so she can't reclaim Mandalore.
Listen, I don't know either.
I feel like we just need one scene. You know what scene I'm about to say? To explain everything.
Give me a hint. What are you talking about?
I'm going to set the scene for you. Exegol.
Hey,
I need clone Daddy Palpatine in a scene on Exegol with some exposition explaining what strings is he pulling right now. How is this all part of his master plan
this is all coming to plan
for the final order to rise? Like how is this all tying in
yes,
his
I meant to
master
do
plan?
that this whole time.
Look what you have made.
I've been every voice inside your head. Listen, let's just give Rian Johnson his trilogy, and it will all make sense. Okay, listen.
That's the other Star Wars news we're covering today, guys and gals. All Star Wars movies that have ever been announced
Are canceled.
And the one guarantee you have as a director in Hollywood is if you are asked to do a Star Wars film, we can guarantee you will not be doing that Star Wars film.
They made her dress in a flight suit for nothing.
They will fire you because of creative differences.
Wait, unless there are two films, right? It's a Taika Waititi's film, and then some other guy, another director. But Benioff's wife, whatever their name was,
They're out.
gone. Patty Jenkins,
Gone.
gone.
Kevin Feige, gone.
Kevin Feige, gone. Rian Johnson, well, he's doing Knives Out right now.
Listen, I like Taika Waititi. He has had directed some great movies. I'm not mad at him doing a Star Wars movie. But this whole quote from Bob Iger about how they're being really mindful and intentional about not rushing a Star Wars movie out, and they don't want to put another Star Wars movie out until they know it's the right movie. And I'm like, and the only one left in production is Taika Waititi's, and we think his is going to be like the one to relaunch the Star Wars movie
This is it.
franchise, because he's a very kind of uh, he has a unique flavor, I'll say.
Yeah,
Now I like the movies he makes, but I'm like, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more on the irreverent.
it's going to be a biopic on Salacious Crumb. You know, it's going to be like
kind of like a Thor Ragnarok, Thor Love and Thunder kind of like funny type movie. And
uh-huh.
I'm like, that's the only one we have left, but it could be awesome. Cool.
You're telling me they can't hire writers like those on Andor and directors like they've had to do a good Star Wars movie?
Well, to me, I'm like, I don't get where all this feedback comes from of Star Wars is more of a you release one Star Wars movie every 3 years type of thing. Like that is such a cop out answer when Marvel is pumping out 4 movies a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, talking about how like Star Wars, like we want to, it's not something that we want to rush movies out. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because every other property you have, every other IP you have, you are
Pumping out
pumping
stuff.
movies out.
Yeah. Toy
This is
Story
the
5. Toy Story 5.
Pixar, Walt Disney Animation, Marvel. This is the only IP movie studio they have that they're acting like, no, we don't want to rush any movies out. I'm like, you guys need, like you did with the High Republic, like you have with Marvel, you need to get a think tank in a room and map this out. And then you hire talent to execute the vision.
Yeah.
That's what Marvel does. Kevin Feige maps out the vision and then he hires talent to fit into the roadmap. I don't get why it's so difficult.
You know,
I
we
should
are
be
so
running
angry
movies
because
still.
of this episode of The Mandalorian.
I don't understand why Bob or Kathy Kennedy haven't called me and I could storyboard this thing so fast.
Oh. Listen, we know video game adaptations work now. Can't we have a Knights of the Old Republic TV show? Listen, Last of Us was fantastic. Let's do that for KOTOR. I still haven't finished the game. I don't know what happens.
And Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the actor literally is identical. They made the character look like the actor. So I
same
mean,
guy.
we got the guy already ready to go. Well, in any case, what did you guys think of this episode of The Mandalorian?
What
Did
do you
you
think
like
about the
Dr.
release
Pershing's
schedule
backstory?
of movies of Star Wars?
Leave a comment down below about whether or not you would have turned Dr. Pershing's uh, memory wipe
Up to 11.
mind flayer up to an 11. That's what our background should have been. It should have been Princess Bride with the pain machine.
Bye.
My gosh, what a missed opportunity.
Well, my TED Talk one's good. Your Lembus bread's good. And that's it. Listen, like and subscribe. Put this on Facebook. Just plaster us all over. Okay. This is the only thing we have. We've both quit our jobs to do this full time. Okay.
I watched a Dude Perfect documentary about how they all quit their jobs to dedicate it to YouTube, and it worked out. They're multimillionaires. So it should
Worked for
work for
them.
us. Should work
We're
for
way
us.
funnier than they are.
And we're way more consistent with our content. I mean, production value's better. I don't understand what we're missing.
Yeah. Anyway, Sean, until next week, this is the way.
We have spoken.
See you on the Dads of Dagobah.
Bye.